Is HR really trying to get you to quit? This is for Black women in toxic jobs. I want to ask you some questions based upon my own experience, as well as what I've heard from people working in HR. For you to ask yourself if you're in a toxic job situation and you've been going to HR and expecting certain supports from HR, ask yourself when you reflect on what has happened in your exchanges with HR, are they really trying to get you to quit? So, if you don't know me already, I'm Dr. Kamani. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist, a toxic job survivor, and more importantly, I'm a toxic job liberator for Black women. On my channel, I focus on ways to support Black women leaving and healing from toxic jobs. So, as I've been working on the Job Liberation Virtual Summit for Black women with my co host, Marissa Price, as I've been working on this summit, a lot of memories about the job have been coming up. If you're part of Gen X, it's kind of like Minnie Riperton, Memory Lane. It's kind of like that. So I wanted to talk about, and again, on my channel, I'm very open about my own healing journey from a toxic job. Even though I've resigned about 2 years ago, I want to be open about my healing journey just so you can see what it looks like and what you may also experience, and to really show you ways that the healing journey really starts after you leave the toxic job. And I've had other women talk about this is an ongoing healing process. So you are bearing witness right now to my healing journey. And as I'm talking about these different experiences, and it appears that you all really relate to me sharing about exactly what happened to me. So I can talk about it from the perspective of a licensed clinical psychologist, a coach, a therapist, all these other things. But what seems to really resonate with you is when I talk about my own experiences. So this is a way for me to model healing, but it's also a way for me to get this toxicity out of my system. So getting this out about what happened to me and even releasing the shame that I experienced for so much of what I just tolerated, and beliefs that I had, and even missing glaring red flags. So, again, I want to talk to you about my experiences so that hopefully you can learn from them. And I'm releasing the shame about what happened to me because I have nothing to be ashamed about. I was making the best decisions that I could at that time. And there were people who lied to me and betrayed me and all those other things. Okay. So I want you to learn from my experiences. So when I talk about is HR really trying to get you to quit, I have seen and heard from so many different people in HR about sometimes if there's a difficult employee, there's a hope that that employee will just resign, because if they get fired, then there's the unemployment, all the other kind of stuff. So if they just leave, then it's like, oh, good. We don't have to worry about paying them some kind of way. Okay. But that's not even keeping in mind about severance and all that kind of stuff, which we're going to talk about during the summit somewhat with Emery Archer, the anti-HR lady, talking about discrimination and severance just a little bit. Okay. Let's just severance. But let's go back to, is HR really trying to get you to quit? So I will share my experience. So in the previous video that I did about how I walked into an ambush in relation to HR, talking about my experiences, work trying to get support from HR, that was a big joke. So look at that video also. So after that, I had that initial ambush situation with HR. Later, I had decided at some point to take a leave of absence because I knew things were not going to get better. I knew that I needed to start working on my exit plan. So again, we'll be working on that during the virtual summit if you're trying to come up with the exit plan. So I started working on my exit plan, took a leave of absence. And during that time, I don't think I was fully committed, right? I still, like when you're in a bad situation, a bad relationship or something, you still have a little inkling of hope that that person is going to see the light and is going to do better. So I think I had like a little inkling, still had some hope that the job would, come together and remember that I was such an outstanding employee and all that kind of stuff. I was just hoping. So while I was on leave, I was still trying to find ways. Is there another way I can make this work? could I possibly, now I'm still making my exit plan though, right? So most of my energy is on exit planning, but I was still kind of like divided attention where I said, okay, are there other possible ways I can stay working for the employer? Maybe not with the people that I was working under, like not the workplace bully and the people she was puppeting. Maybe can I work somewhere else or do something else? But as I mentioned in the previous videos as well, this again shows you about a toxic system. They conspired against me to limit what I was even able to apply for within the school district. So they talked about, because I had this certain class code. Again, I was the only clinical psychologist at that point in the whole school district, okay? A huge school district. So they said, oh, because of your class code, you're not able to apply for a lot of different things. And so I contacted my union. Again, this might be you too, trying to fight, this is not right. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Right. So I was trying to fight and consulting with the union and all that kind of stuff. And so the union helped me contact a point person in HR who initially seemed to support that I was able to apply for these other positions. Like, right, I'm a clinical psychologist with a PhD. Like, why would I not be able to apply for other positions that master's level people would be able to apply for? So this man initially, and it's a different man from where I initially met in HR when I walked into the ambush and he had two of his colleagues come in. Okay. So this is a different man. And initially he was saying, oh no, she's able to apply, for these positions. He looked at my class code, all that kind of stuff. But apparently, just like what happened with my previous supervisor, I guess he got pulled to the dark side, just like she did. And it was a switch. It was a switch in terms of what he was saying. Oh, no, no, oh, no. Or he just went MIA. He went MIA. And please forgive me because this part of the story with HR is a little bit more fuzzy for me because I was less invested. So I started thinking, more than likely, I'm out of here. So I was less invested than when I initially went to HR and had that ambush. Okay, so I had a different perspective. So my memory's a little more foggy with this situation. So anyway, so he was MIA. So when I was on a leave of absence, they started sending me documentation. Now I was on a leave. I had doctor's documentation talking about the stress that I was under, which was due to the job. Okay. So again, think about when you're at a job, when you're accessing those so-called good benefits, is it because the job is making you sick? That's what was happening to me. The job was making me sick. And that's why I was on a leave of absence. So I submitted documentation from the doctors, all that kind of stuff. But this HR person kept contacting me while I was on my leave, adding more stress, right? Kept contacting me while I was on my leave, talking about I needed to return to work within 10 days. Also saying something like, if I didn't return to work in 10 days, then the assumption was that I wanted to resign, right? And it was all this stuff. And I was like, what is happening here? Okay. So again, I'm still making my exit plan, but still had that little inkling of kind of hope that maybe the job was getting together. It wasn't. So there was a deadline of when I had to let them know about if I was returning to work or resigning. Okay. And I was trying to contact this HR point person who, again, turned to the dark side, totally changed from how he initially was. So I was trying to ask him some questions, right? He never responded to any of my emails, phone calls, anything. And I think it was like the last day of when I had to make a decision or something like that. That's when he magically appeared. And from what I remember, it was like after 4 o'clock. It was like 4:40 or like it was late. Okay. And I said, I've been trying to contact you. And he got real indignant, like, well, I've been really busy. He didn't do the next thing. That was me. Okay. That was just me adding to it. But he was like, well, I've been really busy and blah, blah. And I said, well, I was contacting you to get information that might inform my decision. so cold, or whatever, whatever. Okay. So that was the situation. I'm sharing the situation with you because they really wanted me to resign. And I think part of that, like that hope, like, wait a minute, this can't be happening. Because again, logically, I was thinking, why would they want me to resign? I mean, I've done all this really good work and, I've like initiated things and I'm the point person with things and I've been leadership and never had a negative job evaluation. Like, why would they want me to resign? They put so much money into training me for doing all these different things. I'm training other people. Why would they do that? That was another example of me being boo boo with a fool. Okay. So, me trying to make logical sense out of a situation that doesn't make any logical sense. They were invested in getting me out because I was seen as the troublemaker. And it's easier to get the troublemaker to resign than to fire. Because again, I work for a government job and all in the union, all that other kind of stuff. So they were trying to make it was like, like basketball, and it's like when you get to a certain point. Now, I'm not totally into basketball, but I know a little bit about it. When you get to a certain point and it's like full court press, it was like that. It was like full court press trying to get me to resign, just like all these things happening. So, when all this stuff happens, and I invite you to think about the progression of things happening at your job. If you're reaching out to HR and they're really not helpful to you, again, I'm not trashing all of HR. Some people in HR are very good at their job and they're not shady and they haven't been turned to the dark side. Okay. So I'm not saying all of HR. I'm talking about my experience in HR and the many experiences I've heard from other Black women. So if this is your experience, I invite you to start thinking about and working at in your mind, trying to process the thought, I'm going to need to leave. And what do I need to do to get ready so I can get out of this toxic job? So, as I mentioned before, I took a leave, started working on my exit plan. And when all these things kept happening, I had to let go of that hope that dream, that job was going to get it together and that they would value me. They didn't value me. They wanted me gone. They wanted me gone. So, I invite you to think about also if you're in a situation at your job, are they really trying to get you to quit? And what are your reasons for staying there? I've done some other videos about that, really inviting you to look at your mindset about when you see the writing on the wall, when you see all these red flags, all these things going on, to really reflect on what is keeping you there. And it might be finances, it might be the fear of, I need to make money, so I can't just up and leave this job. And I don't want you to up and leave this job if you don't have anything else in place to replace your income unless you're in immediate danger, physically and or psychologically. If you are not, then I want to encourage you to come to the Job Liberation Virtual Summit for Black Women if you haven't already registered, because you will learn about ways to replace your income, what to do about your health insurance, your retirement, life insurance, all these other things. Okay. So you'll learn all these things at the virtual summit. And I want to share these things with you and be very honest with you about my experience because I know what it's like. I know what it's like, not only as a therapist and a coach, but as a Black woman who has gone through it and I'm still healing from it. And I don't want you to go through those experiences. So Marissa Price and I came together. So we're both toxic job survivors. And we came together because we want to really help Black women see and to know there's another way. You don't have to stay at a toxic job. You can start getting ready to prepare yourself so that once you leave, you'll be good. Okay. You'll be good financially. So, again, if you haven't already registered, click in the description section and get registered. So it's May 18th and 19th. So we have a powerhouse roster of Black women who are our speakers, and they have left jobs and they are doing very well. Okay. So we're going to kick it off with Stephanie Perry talking about job detox. We're also going to have Alicia Renese talking about ways to connect to our creativity, our joy, and our dreams. We have Amory Archer, the anti-HR lady, talking about discrimination and severance. And we have different speakers. We have various speakers talking about how to replace your income, various options for that. So if it's contract work, another job, not another toxic one, right? So things to look out for that. Freelance work, side hustles, creating your own business, so many different options for you, and how to create a financial exit plan. So all this is available to you. And I didn't even go over all the speakers. Okay. Those are just the highlights. So again, to register, click in the description section to get your ticket. And as a privacy consideration, you will not be on camera. None of the participants will be on camera, only the speakers, because we don't want people in our business as Black women. We don't want nobody needs to know you trying to leave a job. Okay. So again, you will not be on camera. Your name will not be listed. If you have a question or comment, you can change your name in the platform. Okay. And please don't tell other coworkers that you're coming to the summit. I've done videos talking about coworkers and things like that. So just be mindful of that. Walk in silence, just like Harriet Tubman did. Be mindful of who you share information with, and get prepared, get ready. Okay. So as I'm signing off, please share this video with at least 2 other Black women. Also, please subscribe to my channel. And if you haven't already, please give this video a thumbs up. Okay. See you later. Bye.